Good morning again. Thanks for having me back into your home. I'd like to talk to you today about my brother Jim. I think maybe a few days ago I told you about Bob and Norman, my two oldest brothers. Jim was 6 years older than me. 6 years can be a lot of difference sometimes, but we got along well together. We were real pals growing up. It really hurt me when he turned 18, graduated from high school, and went to work somewhere because we weren't able to be together as much. And then shortly after that, we moved to Tennessee, and Jim didn't move with us because he had a job, and he stayed on with one of my sisters. But up until that time, Jim and I were close companions to one another and had a lot of good times together. We got into a lot of mischief that we probably shouldn't have. Daddy had bought 2 calves. They were bull calves, little calves, and we had fed them and fooled with them and fed them, and they got bigger, and they were getting pretty good size. This was going to be our beef next winter, so we knew that Daddy would tell us, don't get too attached to these because they won't be around long. But we were having a lot of fun with them, and we had tried to rope them a time or two. We weren't very good ropers, but every now and then we managed to get a rope on one. It took both of us most of the time to get the rope back off of one after we got it on it. Well, somewhere Jim had gone home with someone that had a TV. We did not have a TV in those days, but he had, and he saw rodeo for the first time. They were bull riding. Well, one of our calves was getting big enough to ride it. Jim told me one day, that one was named Rowdy. I don't remember the other one's name, but I remember Rowdy. And Jim said, I'm going to ride old Rowdy. Do you put a saddle? No, you don't put a saddle on him. You put a rope around him and you hold on to that rope. Okay, when are you going to do this? Well, I don't know yet. Well, I didn't know it was a secret. So Daddy was working in Birmingham at the time. We lived about probably a mile from Southern Railroad. As I've told you many times before, my dad was a preacher, had a church there in the community where he preached, and but he would leave home early on Monday mornings and catch the train into Birmingham. It didn't take too long to get there. He'd be a little late for work on Mondays. Ride the train back home on Friday nights. At the time, Bob had a car, but we did not have a car. So Daddy would walk. He'd get up and walk to the train station. But one Saturday, Daddy was at home, and I was talking, and I told him, Jim's going to ride old Rowdy. Well, Daddy didn't think that was a good idea, and he told Jim, no, you don't be riding on Rowdy. And Jim really wanted to. Daddy said, okay, some Saturday when I'm at home and we've got time where I can be here and kind of keep control of things, you can ride Rowdy if you want to. It's not going to last long. You may get hurt, but I'll let you ride Rowdy if you want to, but don't do that if I'm not at home. So as soon as Daddy's back was turned, Jim said, what'd you have to tell him for? I didn't know. Well, had no business telling him. Now, at this time, I was probably 5 or 6 years old. Jim would have been 11 or 12. And he said, come Monday morning, I'm riding Rowdy, and I'll have him broke to where I can just ride him all I want to by the time Daddy gets around to it, because it'll be 2 or 3 weeks before he gets around to it. Okay, so we get everything all set and all organized. We get up with Daddy and have breakfast on Monday morning, and Daddy bids us all farewell, kisses Mama goodbye, and out the door he goes, carrying his suitcase in his hand, headed for the train station. As soon as he's gone, we know he's out of the yard good, we head for the barn. We run Rowdy into the little load and shoot pen that we had there. Jim manages to get a rope around him. I don't think he had it properly fixed like the rodeos do, but he manages to get the rope around him. And Rowdy gets turned sideways in the pen, and we have to get that straightened out. It takes a little while. Well, Jim's listening and waiting, and he said, there goes the train now. And we saw the train pulling out. It was still fairly dark. It wasn't good daylight, but we could see the lights in the train cars. They're heading on that. Well, he's gone. He's on his way to Birmingham. Let's get over here and get ready, John. When I tell you, okay, you throw that gate open and you get out of the way. Well, we get it, and Jim has trouble getting on him. It takes him a little while because every time he tries to get on him, Rowdy turns sideways, and the pin's not hardly snug enough to hold Rowdy in place. Jim manages finally to get him cornered and get on him, and he looks at me and says, okay. Well, just about the time Jim said okay, I sense a presence close to me, and I glance over my shoulder, and Daddy is coming toward us with a very stern look on his face, and I can see his suitcase sitting where he just dropped it back behind him, and he's coming toward us, not running, but moving pretty fast. And Jim hollers again, okay. Well, I throw the gate open and move back. Daddy has to move back too. He's that close to me. But he grabs me and swats my pants about 3 good licks. In the meantime, Rowdy has made about 2 jumps, and Jim's laying on the ground. And he sees Daddy about that time. And he says, oh, my back's broke. My back's broke. Daddy said, well, that's going to fit in with the rest of you, son, because you're going to be broke all over when I get through. The only time in several years there that Daddy missed the train, it pulled out just about the time he was about 2/3 of the way there, so he turned around and came back home. And that's my rodeo story for the day. Thank you.